So without further ado, now Joe is going to be exiting immediately after he does his intro to go back to LA. So he won't be here after the conclusion of the movie orgy, but he will be introducing. And one last bit of business, this is on DV cam tape, and it's long, so it doesn't fit on a single tape. There will be two pauses as tapes are switched. Do not panic. That is intentional. Just be patient. It will come right back on. All right, Joe Dante.
So this is, I guess you could call it a pop culture collage, which is also sort of an endurance test. It's not as much of an endurance test as it was when it was first created, when it was 7 hours long. But over the years, we've added and subtracted to it to a point where the best I could do was 4 hours and 40 minutes worth, which is plenty, believe me. You will not feel slighted. Now, the idea of not having a longer intermission is that this program was designed to be walked out on. The whole idea of it is that there's a bunch of stuff. There's different stories that are told concurrently. There's a lot of ephemera. And none of it really amounts to a hill of beans. So the whole idea is to just have a good time. If you want to go out and get a pizza and come back, or get a smoke, but it's perfectly fine. You won't have missed anything. The history of this thing, which I will condense, is basically that my friend John Davis and I decided in 1968, which was a very political year, that we wanted to do a program much like the Batman serial that had been re-released, 1943 Batman serial, which was they were running at the time in all 15 chapters at a time, and when a lot of camaraderie was engendered in the audience as you watched this thing, which was pretty mind-bending. And frankly, the longer you watched it, the more your brain started to sort of freeze. And the idea, it's the actual length itself that gives it its je ne sais quoi or whatever, because in pieces, it's funny, but it's the endurance aspect of it, of actually having to endure all this stuff as we have done all of our lifetimes, because basically this is a bunch of stuff that kids in 1968 would have seen on TV when they were kids, and a lot of the audience were confronted with images from TV shows that they only half remembered. This was all pre-VHS and pre-home video, and you didn't have the ability to just plunder your past and go back and look at everything that you ever saw as you do now. This was sort of a special case, and it's I have to warn you, it's very crude, and it's not just crude in content, which it is occasionally, but it's crudely made. It's put together literally by hand. Every splice is made by hand. We used to advertise it as a 2001 Splice Odyssey. And the idea is that all the different footage comes from different kinds of films and different prints. So we would have to man the projectors through the entire 7 hours and change the focus every time the picture changed, and raise and lower the sound. Luckily, now that it's on tape, you don't have to do that. But it's pretty beat up. It's got a lot of splices and scratches, which somehow seems appropriate. And it is what it is. I mean, really, you'll get the idea pretty quick about what it's going to be. And because there's no remixing, there's no color correction. When you cut 16mm film, you always get an overlap of sound because of the way it's printed, and that's all there. And I think there are probably some things in it that you may recognize from your earlier life, unless you're under 18, in which case it's going to be like this is from Mars. And you'll also find a lot of things that over the years in my movies I have lifted from the movie orgy, sometimes actual footage and sometimes just stealing ideas and lines and dialogue. And it's the unlocked key to my work, which it's unfortunate that it takes 4.5 hours to watch. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to leave. And if you do leave, feel free to come back, because this is something that you're probably not going to see anywhere else, because I don't own a single frame of this film. It's all material. Sometimes I don't even know what it's from. So the people keep saying, "Oh, is it going to come out on DVD?" No. because there's no possible way to tell what's in it. And also the experience of watching it on DVD is subtly different and not as good as seeing it with an audience. So thanks to the festival for bringing me out here, and thanks for coming.